All right, thank you all for coming. Thank you all for joining. The Leadership Standard is live right now, and we will be coming online with Caroline Uchenna Okorafor. Well, I have more people join us. Thank you all for being a part of this show today. And for those who are just joining us for the first time, my name is Buchi Law OKK, and I am your host for today's Leadership Standard, where we'll be bringing on Caroline Uchenna Okorafor. Caroline Uchenna Okorafor is a lawyer, a human rights activist, as well as the principal secretary of the indigenous people of Biafra. And my name is Buchi Law, and I'm excited to have you all here. As we wait on her to join us, she's going to be joining us shortly. I just want you to, first of all, have an understanding of what this show is about. And you can always put your comments down below, and we would be excited to read them out or talk about them. First of all, I want to just appreciate everyone for coming. The Leadership Standard is a youth-run organization. We're based out of California, United States, and we are a youth-run organization set out to promote young people who are doing positive things in the world, young people doing exciting things in society, young people doing exciting things in the world. And we believe that one of those young people that are doing great things in our world today, is by the person of Uchenna Okorafor, because she is one of those people who is very passionate about leadership, passionate about making a difference in society. And you all will see why I say so in a couple of minutes when she joins us shortly. We believe that there is a lot of injustice going on around the world. And today we want to talk about that, most especially what's going on in eastern Nigeria, the Biafra land. And Uchenna Okorafor is very well versed on these issues and some of the injustice going on. And we know that any injustice anywhere around the world affects everyone, no matter how minute you may be in any part of the society in the world, it affects everyone. So thank you for your comments. James, good evening, James Friday. Mike Starter, good evening as well. And we are praying, and we're looking forward to a free Biafra, and that's what we want. And that is what she is going to be talking to us today. So 1 second while we wait for her. She's still not here. Hopefully she'll be here soon. While I get ready, I just want everyone, if you have any questions or comments, please put them down. We look forward to answering as many questions as possible as we can today. As I was saying, I don't know what your opinion is or what your understanding is, but it doesn't matter. Injustice anywhere is affecting everybody. We're seeing what's going on with the killings, the rapings of women in eastern Nigeria and Biafra. We're seeing a lot of people who are, losing their lives, being tortured, being unjustly put in prisons, being unjustly incarcerated for months without trial. All of these things is a signal to what's going on in eastern Nigeria, and we have to create more avenues to talk about these things. And if we don't talk about these things, it's going to keep happening. There's not going to be any change. There's not going to be any difference. Things will still remain the same. And the only way we can talk about these things is when we bring them to limelight. And that's what we want to do today. We want to bring these things to the limelight. We want to bring them to the fore. We want to talk about these things and see how the international community, how we ourselves can actually make a difference in society so that we don't keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And that's why we are going to have the discussion. So thank you all for coming. Uchenna will be with us shortly. But before she comes on, if you have any questions you want to ask, please put them down in the comment section. And I will try as much as possible to ask these questions. But again, ask yourself, are you living in an ideal world? That's my question for you now. Whoever is watching me, are you living in an ideal world? And what is your definition of an ideal world? What's the kind of world that you want to see? What's the kind of vision that you have for yourself? And that's what everyone is looking for. Everyone is looking for an ideal world. We're all looking for, a world that we can all live, and live to our full potential. And the question then is, are we living in that world? And the answer to that question is it depends on wherever you are, we know for sure that in Eastern Nigeria, that's not an ideal world. An ideal world is a world where there is justice, equality for all. That's the kind of world that I envision for myself, for my family, for the next generation, is an ideal world where there's justice. And there cannot be justice if people are unjustly incarcerated, if people are put in prisons, if people are not, are not shown the right way to live their life. There is no justice. People are being killed, jungle justice. There is no, things are just happening in a world that is not, that is not enlightened enough or awakened. We have to awaken the mindset. And that's one of the things that I've gotten from. Thank you so much, Chidi. Thank you so much, Mr. Chidi. Dr. Chidi, we appreciate you. Thank you for coming. This is, and if you go on my Instagram page, you'll see that there is a, I have a following as well. The Leadership Standard has a following as well on Instagram, and that's where we usually have our shows. But because of Carolyn Uchenna requested specifically that she wanted to do the show on Facebook and Twitter, because she has more people on that platform, and that's why we're bringing it over here. And she's going to be joining us shortly. We're just waiting on some few things before she comes in, but she's going to be with us shortly. So please, thank you all for your patience, and I'm sorry that she's not here yet, but she will be here shortly, and that's a promise and that's a guarantee. But again, I was talking about what we understand, or what do you understand by an ideal world? What is an ideal world? To all standards. I have been seeing a lot of things where people are celebrating the fact that they leave Nigeria or they leave Africa and travel to Western countries, and they celebrate these things. So we see a lot of people who are excited to leave Nigeria. We see a lot of people who are excited to escape from Nigeria. And the reason why is because I consider, Nigeria not an ideal world. Nigeria, the essence of life in Nigeria is not ideal for anyone who wants to consider themselves, that wants to live in an ideal world. People live in America, people live in Europe, people live in, all the parts of the world, Dubai, Asia, wherever it is, and you see what it resembles an ideal world. What is that semblance of an ideal world? And that is not what we see in some African countries, most especially Nigeria. And that's the focus, that's the focal point of today's topic, is what's happening in Nigeria is not ideal for anyone to live in. And we look at the oppression, we look at what's the suppression going on, and the killings, the rapings, the murders, the all sorts of things that's going on there. And we know that these things it's not normal, and they should not be celebrated, or they should not be seen as normal. So, and that's what this conversation is going to be. The topic of this conversation is the case for justice, the Biafra Republic, the case for justice, the Biafra Republic. And please just bear with me. We still have not had, Caroline hasn't joined us yet, but she has promised she will be joining me shortly. Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Chidi. I hope you guys can hear me clearly. I just believe that, I am being heard. If you can hear me, please just put a thumbs up, something to show that, you're hearing me. Thank you, Mr. Chidi. You're very interested in listening to young people. Exactly. And that's the word right there, young people. And that's what I tell people, that the Leadership Standard is a program that's aimed at promoting young people. So we are looking at promoting young people who are doing positive things in society. And I'm very excited with the speaker coming in today, Uchenna Okorafor. I'm very excited for the work that she's doing, and I want us to have a conversation with her today where she shares, what exactly she's doing and what makes it relevant to our current society that we're living in. We care so much about what's going on in Eastern Nigeria, despite the fact that we live, in other parts of the world. We still believe and trust that what's going on there affects us. No matter how small, no matter how big it still affects us. And that is why we want to have this conversation today. Still waiting. So yeah, while we still wait for Carolina, I'm going to be reading the comments before she comes in. And thank you so much, Mike Starter. And it says an ideal world is where someone can live their lives in safety. They have access to free education. They have access to suitable medical facilities. They have access to food. They have access to clean water. They have a life that gives them hope where they can fulfill their potential. That's powerful. I believe that's a strong word right there. An ideal world is exactly what you said, you know, Mike, exactly what you said. And do you ask yourself where you're living in right now? You know, that's true. Ask yourself, Mike Starter, where you're living in right now, do you consider that an ideal world? Do you consider where you are staying, your current residence, where you're domiciled, do you consider that an ideal world? And I know for sure that's not what's going on in places like Obigbo, in Olu, in Anambra State, in Imo State, in Enugu State, where there is no water, where there is no lights, where there is no healthcare, where doctors are fainting. That is not an ideal world. That is not an ideal world. That is not an ideal world. We have to talk about these things. We have to create a platform where we can discuss about these things. You know, as Mr. Chidi said, unfortunately, a lot of young people are not interested in discussing difficult topics. Listen, we have to start having this conversation. And let me tell you, let me see. Sorry about that. I think I caught up. Oh yeah, we have Caroline. Yeah, she's finally here. Hey, Caroline, how are you? Let me see. Let me see if you can stream. There we go. Thank you so much, Caroline. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Thank you so much, Caroline. Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming in. We've started this conversation. I was like literally pouring the fire in while I was waiting for you to come in, because I could tell that a lot of people are excited to have you on this show. I'm excited to have you on this show. You know, I see the things that you do for Biafra. I see the kind of conversations that you want to have for Biafra. I see the way you are excited and passionate about these things. And I want to just open this floor up for you. First of all, to those who are watching who may not know what Biafra is, those who are like new, those who are like new in this platform or new in this space. What is your understanding of Biafra? How would you explain Biafra to someone who's just joining for the first time?
Well, I mean, the first thing when I tell people what is Biafra, the first thing that comes to my thoughts, my mind, my heart is freedom. So Biafra is basically what I identify myself as, pretty much what it's Biafra, for one, is a place in the Southeast, right? It's the Southeast. It's its own republic. And this is something that we're fighting for to basically declare it as a republic. So when you ask me what Biafra is, I would come in and say that Biafra means freedom, because we're fighting for people to be free from this country called Nigeria.
Totally. And you said freedom, and you know, when you say that, a lot of people may not understand exactly why we are fighting for freedom in a country that seemingly seems like it's free. So why do people say that, you know, when you say something about Biafra, people fighting for freedom? What's the essence behind that? Why are people fighting for freedom? What's happening? What's the fight for?
The fight is for freedom. I mean, if you I know a lot of people are not, well, here in the United States, I know a lot of people are not focused on what's really going on in Nigeria. But currently, I mean, Biafrans are being oppressed. That's the main reason why, right? So It's even advocating for freedom is an issue, which when you protest for your freedom, that's a fundamental right, freedom of speech, right?
Right.
They want a way out of this whole terrorist country called Nigeria. You know what I mean? Biafrans have always been oppressed and oppressed and oppressed time after time, right? So since we go back to all the way of the war, right? There's no change since the war until now. It's still pretty much an ongoing genocide. People are dying every day, right? They have a problem with us for standing up for our rights regarding why we want to be free, why we deserve our own republic. And as a result of that, people are dying. They're getting kidnapped. They're getting raped. And instead of us forcing to become a part of this contraption, right? Instead of forcing us to become a part of this contraption, and you're killing us and enabling us to live and just be free, you know, they're terrorizing us. So what we're advocating is for just take your country. If you want Nigeria, take it. We want freedom and we want Biafra.
That's powerful. That's powerful. And I know that our subject today, for those who are just joining us, our subject today is the case for justice, the Biafra Republic. I want you to talk to me about, you've seen a lot of injustice pretty much in your role as the principal secretary of the indigenous people of Biafra. I want you to talk about one of those scenes of injustice and how first of all, how the international community, the media is taking it, and what do you think is the reason why Biafra or the injustice going on in Biafra is not like world topic or world news?
Okay. Well, I'll answer your first question. So when you think about Biafra, right, let's talk about the whole corruption of Nigeria. Nigeria as a whole is very, very corrupt. Within Nigeria, you're going to have several different issues, right? So you have the issues of the youth being oppressed from the government, right? You have Yorubas also advocating. There's different issues, right? So many issues, and it's so hard to kind of pinpoint where the problem is. So when you look at the Southeast, that's an issue within itself, right? And because the way that the government is using their tools, their corruption, and their power to suppress us, those issues are not coming notice. Because one thing that you have to understand is everybody has problems in Nigeria, but ask yourself how many people are fighting for secession, right? When you fight for secession, you're not fighting for get me out of prison. You're fighting to basically, remove yourself from a country, right? So when you think about that idea, it's like, okay, all of these issues, which one is the biggest threat, right? Which one is the biggest threat that we can suppress? And clearly it's Biafra, because it's something that it's real, and it's something that it's so tangible that you can be able to get, and they don't want us to have it. So that was your last question, and I want you to kind of take me back to your other question.
Yes. So first of all, thank you for such an amazing answer as always. My other question is about what particular injustice has been so close to your own heart currently going on in Nigeria to the Biafrans.
Thank you for that. The biggest thing there's numerous of injustice, right? Every day I'm getting somebody's getting kidnapped, abducted, or raped. The biggest one that I'm currently working on is the women that were abducted, and they were brought to Abuja, and they were raped. They were raped. I believe the time that they were abducted was around October, November, by the Nigerian Army. The Nigerian Army, right, abducted them. They were raped. And I kind of get emotional. Like, I don't want to get emotional, but since that has happened, I've been able to speak with some of the women, and I'm not going to say the women that I'm communicating with, but one of them or two of them, just two of them that I've been speaking with, they shared their story with me in a way that I can't sleep. She was raped. Like, let me just give you stories. She was raped while she was in prison, and the thing that hurt me the most was she was a virgin. Right? She was a virgin, and they raped her. She told me about 4 to 5 men a day.
Wow.
Right. Not only was she raped, it was probably, when she was detained, it was probably like one time or twice a week where she was even able to get food. Right?
But you said by the Nigerian Army.
By the Nigerian Army. Yes.
The Nigerian Army are like the people who are meant to protect the people. Exactly. The citizens of Nigeria raped their own citizens.
Exactly. The people that are meant to protect you are the ones that are doing it. And the way that she said, it was just man after man. I mean, if that does not hurt your soul, then why are you even living? Why? It hurts me so much.
Sorry, you're muted. I think you're muted, Carolyn. Carolyn, I think you're okay. I can hear you now. Go on.
Okay. It hurt me so much. I said to myself that every single one of those women that were raped or detained unjustly, their names are tattooed on my heart, and I will make sure that justice is served. Because the thing about it is, you see, this is the problems with Nigeria. You see, when the 300 schoolgirls were kidnapped, did you see that? The 300 girls?
Yeah.
That was a big deal, right? It was all over the news and stuff, which is very sad, right? Because the insecurity levels are, it's just horrible. The 300 girls were kidnapped. This situation happened. Look at the media attention that it got.
Zero.
So my thing is, and Henry Shield, he had tweeted something that was so good. I would want to probably go back to that tweet, but basically it's like when things happen to Biafrans, it's like they're pretty much animals. They're at the bottom barrel, right? They're not even considered humans. They're not even considered, the governors in those states cannot protect them, right?
Right. So
people like me, you, other people that are advocating for their freedom, that's who they have. They trust their own government. So if you live in a society where you can't trust your own government, why in the hell are you living there? Why live there? Rather, allow us to create our own republic where the people can trust us, right? The people can trust us and people can start living, and the media, they like to report what they talk about what they want to talk about, right?
Right.
There's no difference from what was happening in the 60s until now. It's just that it's been drawn out. Biafrans have been killed by numbers. Not only are they killed by numbers, they're abducted every day. This new thing that the Nigerian that the government passed, where they basically bought a debugging system for WhatsApp, so they will be able to track Biafrans and abduct them. That's exactly what's going on. And then let me tell you this: they spend all of this money doing this for people advocating for freedom, but the real people like Boko Haram, you cannot have that same energy and do it. And then one more thing, and then I'll settle down. But Mazi Nnamdi tweeted today the video with the Fulanese stating that the Nigerian government is supplying them with arms.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I saw that.
Supplying them with arms, right? You're supplying them with arms. Rather, these people that don't even have weapons, we have to raise up our own army to protect our people.
Right.
And these people that are just advocating for freedom, dying. For what cause? So please, that's why I said America or other countries, please tell me why you don't feel like it's necessary for you to step in. Why? When the government itself is the terrorist. The government itself is the terrorist.
Right.
We just want to be by ourselves. We can run it our own. We can do what we need to do for our people. Just leave us alone.
So I want you to ask. I want to ask you this question. What do you think is about Biafra? What is it about Biafra that brings like a sort of like a shiver in the minds of like people or the people in government? Why are they so afraid about Biafrans or Biafra or the idea about Biafra? Why does it seem like there's always a conflict whenever people bring up the issue of Biafra, in conversations?
See, if people thank you for that question. See, the problem is that the reason why they're so shaken by the idea of Biafra, because it's real, right? The government will laugh at things that they know that it's like not on their level, they can't worry about. But the way that we're rising and moving in a way is that Biafra is inevitable, right? Nigeria is on the verge of breaking. As a matter of fact, it's broken. Let's not even say it's on the verge of break. It's broken. So the fact that we're getting there, it doesn't sit well with them. Secondly, our ancestor spirits are real. People cannot forget the 1967 genocide. You cannot forget that. Some of the people now that are in the government, right? They were there during the war. Some of them were probably like teenagers and youth. They were there during the war. So just having that memory of, and people know that war, we lost a lot of people and they were at fault. It's a guilty factor too. Although they're evil, it's still a guilty factor. So it's like having that guilty factor and then seeing it as it's almost that it's possible, it's coming, where you can feel it coming. It's an issue for them. They're going to try to do everything they're going to do to stop it, right? But as they continue to show themselves by raping, abducting, and doing all this stuff, and as long as people like me and you and other people, our voices, we're unstoppable. And that's what they need to understand.
Yeah, totally. And I see that I've heard conversations where Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has spoken in several platforms where he has said that he has continuously written to international communities, written letters, and nothing has been done to help the situation. So do you think at any point in time, do you think that, the international communities will play any role at all towards the emancipation of Biafrans or Biafra people?
I'm just going to be real, 100% real. So international communities, right? So when we think about the case of Biafra, what is the first country you think about, or the first international community that comes to your mind?
I would think of Israel.
Israel.
United States.
What else?
United States.
No, it's before the United States. Just a country that works so well with Nigeria.
Oh, the United Kingdom, the UK.
Correct, right? They have, listen, so it's just a lot of stuff. You have to understand how this works. You have to kind of really unwind. You can't just like, some people just say, well, why can't these people help? You have to understand how people's hands are tied, right?
Right.
United Kingdom, when you go back, right? When you go way, way back, right? They pretty much came into this place where they made up called Nigeria, and they forced people to adapt to this lifestyle that was not theirs, right? And not only were they forcing people to adapt to it, they were also benefiting from it, right? Because in a way, not in a way, it's facts that Nigeria is a company. That's what it is, right? It's a company, right? And the white and the UK, they have their hands so tied in it, right? So it's like rather them actually doing the right thing, and they know what's right because because their silence enables, like their silence makes them guilty. They know what is right. They were there when the genocide happened. They know that you cannot force all these tribes together. Rather than them actually undoing their wrongs and putting their stance on and saying, hey, you know what, let's just go ahead and declare, let's do something where we can help these people declare Biafra. They won't do it because their hands are so tied. Their hands are so tied in this whole country of Nigeria. And that's the issue. That's the issue. And if that, if they don't want to focus on Biafra, fine. Let's talk about NSARS. The evidence was so clear of the police, of the Nigerian Army shooting the protesters. Boom, boom. The evidence was clear. CNN broadcasted. Everybody broadcasted. They even had something at the ICC court. And today I found out that so far only 4 police officers have been arrested. That's considered justice, right? That's considered justice. What has been done? You know what I mean? Just as Nigeria looks bad, the UK looks just as bad. They're at the same hands. There's no difference between the Nigeria and the UK, because if they're supposed to be a big brother, towards Nigeria, they're not telling them or correcting them for their wrongs, or at least giving us what we want.
Right. Someone said, Mike Starter said the UK military trained the SARS operatives.
Yep.
I knew that as well. And that's crazy, because look at the way they train them. They train them to kill their own people, hate their own people. And those seeds have been grown in our minds. And now it's yielding so much fruit, because we're seeing so much division in the country and so much hatred on all sides. Someone else also says that England is the problem of Nigeria today. They should let Biafra go. Another one says, Ugochi says Biafra shall come. Mike Starter again said international community will ignore as long as they can, because they are receiving resources from Africa. And I believe that's what's happening with most international communities, because they see Africa as like a looting ground, a place where they loot resources. So they don't really see, there is no really like this urgency to save any Africa. And it doesn't even matter whether it's Biafra, whether it's any other parts of Africa. They don't care. So that's why, and that leads me to my next question, the Eastern Security Network. What do you say to those people who say the Eastern Security Network is a far cry, or too much, like the Biafrans have gone too far with the Eastern Security Network? What's your view on that?
I wish I could. I was like, I wish my phone was open, because I would show you a picture that I received this week, and then everybody watching can tell me why we need the Eastern Security Network. The government is not protecting us. The government of the states where Biafrans reside in, they're not being protected by their own government. They allow Fulanese to come into the land, right? They haven't really, some of them are like walking on water. They haven't really actually put a standpoint on it. They allow all of these atrocities to happen to Biafrans. So when people are getting so tired of the dying and the killings and just the sad news every day, right? What's going to happen is you're going to continue to sleep on your back and just allow them to continue to do that? No, Every person deserves, they have a right to protect themselves. And that's exactly what the Eastern Security Network is doing. There's no wrong into what they're doing. You have a Nigerian army that supplies terrorist groups, right? That supplies actual terrorist groups and Fulanese with AK-47s when weapons are not, you're not allowed to have arms, right?
Right.
But people that are advocating for freedom, it's a problem. They are the biggest enemy, right? So so that's my issue. People need to stop questioning, why is there an Eastern Security Network? Why are you continuing to kill Biafrans?
Mm-hmm.
Why does the government continue to kill Biafrans, right?
Mm-hmm.
And allow it? No justice is ever served. So guess what? We raised our own army, and they're doing
right. That's good. And that's good. Now, what's your view on the complacency? How complacent would you say the Nigerian journalists or the journalism in Nigeria has been? And what's your vision? Because Nigeria is moving to a brink of collapse. Everyone can see that Nigeria is going to collapse someday, sometime, somehow, with what's going on. But how would you say that the journalism in Nigeria is playing a role, to even bring more, problems in Nigeria?
Well, when we talk about Nigeria, it's a very impoverished country, right? So everything is pretty much controlled. Even though you know what the right thing to do, a higher authority can come and control you just with money, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have the parts of the corruption, right? So where journalists know what they should know, they know what they should report, but then they're bought off by the government or they're threatened, right? So if you have those two mixes, no real journalism exists. You do have journalists, but how many, you could Google right now, journalists in Nigeria that has been killed this year or last year. They've, when the ones that are brave and they speak up, they either have to flee to another country and seek asylum, or they just stop what they're doing, or they're killed. So if you're putting that on somebody's life, then why even try to talk or tell people what the truth is, right? When your own government is killing you and silencing you when you're trying to speak of the truth. So that's the main reason why journalism is not real. And then you have the journalists, and I'm going to call them out. I'm not going to call them out, but you have the journalist companies that try to attack, even Igbos that try to attack what we're doing, what Biafrans. Right. They try to make these false narratives. They try to talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Oh, he's not doing this, or he's doing this, or he's doing this. All lies, 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 lies.
Right.
Continue to lie. In order to what? Defeat what we're doing? To defeat what we're doing? No, it doesn't work like that. So that's why, for me, it's hard for me to kind of find a journalist and trust them, right? So what I do is there's certain journalists that I work with, and I work with them around and see what we can do, because Inner Society, very good, and they're not affiliated with IPOB, but their facts are so on point, right? I'm actually getting people here in America to actually look at some of their news because it's so on point, and that we need more of that.
Awesome. And I see some people have been asking about streaming. Please, if you want to share this video on any platform, please go ahead and share it. I have no reservations. Share it on any platform you desire. We want to get this message out there. This is a very timely message, and we have to keep talking about the injustice going on in Biafra, the nation of Biafra, the people of Biafra. So I want we just came out of Black History Month in America, all right? I want to ask you this question. What is your opinion? African Americans went through a similar situation like what's going on in Biafra land, where they were oppressed by white people, where they were killed by white people, where they were, hung on trees by white people. What's your opinion? What's the similarities between what African Americans faced in America and what Biafrans are facing in Nigeria? What's the similarities, and how can we learn from African Americans and what they've done so far?
The discrimination and being oppressed, that's the biggest similarities. But the thing about when Black people, when me being Black here in the United States, I said this before, I'll say it again, in ways we're a second-class citizen, right? You're always judged. You're judged by your profession. You're judged by the way that you talk. Black people are judged, right? People are, they're judged here. So in regards to, and who are they judged by? White people. You have to look at how slavery and racism put a big part in America, right? When Black people were so oppressed. I mean, like, I'm all Black Lives Matter, you know, here, because that's what I fight for here as well. But if you just look at the history of America and Black people, they were just, it was horrible. And so Black people are free. They're still in a way oppressed in so many ways. There's so many innocent Black people that are currently in prison for crimes they did not commit. And I worked in an innocence clinic. And when you read, even they have no evidence and they're still locking them up, right? And this is what a white justice system that's doing this to Black people. So now when you pretty much compare that to a country like Nigeria, it hurts more. You know why? Because it's your own people that are suppressing you, right? Not, it's, you know, yes, the British, fine, but it's still your own people that are suppressing you. So that's an issue. It's like, it's more of a, it's not, it's like it's a dying pain. When you think about it, it's like Black on Black oppression. That's horrible. And that's what Biafrans are going through.
Right. And now I see that, you know, even in a similarity with what's going on in African American in America, you know, a lot of people see like an escape from Nigeria being they traveled out of the country. Right. So someone, you know, goes out and shares a testimony in church. Hey, I got a visa to leave Nigeria. I'm going to America. And a lot of people who say that you are living in America. I'm living in America. Why then are you so passionate about what's going on in Biafra? Why don't you what's your view on that?
No, I mean, that's okay, because at the end of the day, like, you go, that's your home. You know, like where your root is. You talk about where your root is, and people now are like, oh, a lot of Black people are now like, oh, like Africa, that's like my home, that's my motherland, right? People kind of, basically, they kind of construe that into where their original home is. That same idea, that same method, that's the same thing I do, right? So Biafra, that's my home. That's where my ancestors were. Both of my parents were born and raised in Biafra, right? I want my children to know about Biafra. That is considered home, right? And there's no people that are here, Igbos and Biafrans that are Biafrans, all Biafrans that are here in the United States that they have notice of what's going on, and they say, oh, it hurts my heart so much. I can't think about it because, you know, the war was so bad. What's the difference between then and now? What's the difference between then and now, right? The same thing is happening, but with technology now and just the modern world, we have a better chance of doing something. So stop trying to feel sorry for Biafrans and what they're going through. Like, oh, it's too much. Oh, IPOB. Do something about it. Do something. There are people that are not even in IPOB or that's just a Biafran. They do so much about the cause because they see the atrocities on a daily, right? And I think I told you earlier that came to my mind is our generation too, right? Oh, the youth, whatever. Our generation. Are you going to be in a generation? Are you just going to live in a generation and just be a doctor, a lawyer? And are you going to live in a generation, or are you going to fight for generations to come? Right? And that's what I'm doing. Yes, I'm an attorney, but what else? I fight the way that I fight for Biafra. This is how the same method I apply for my clients, because I hate injustice. If you know, I hate injustice. I hate injustice. I hate injustice. So the same energy that I use to fight for my cases here, I use that the same energy to fight for my people back at home, right?
Right. Yeah.
That's where it's at. Be that generation where you're gonna fight for generations to come. You only have one life to live. What are you gonna do to set yourself apart? What are you gonna do? What is the purpose that God has placed in your life to do in this world? Because yes, you can make a difference of being a doctor, an attorney, an engineer, and all of these good names, a baker, and whatever. But you ask yourself, right, when it comes to what we're doing, which is saving a population, that's huge. And people here in America that are Biafrans, or if you don't, Biafrans, or in other organizations such as UIU, join the struggle, right? Because this stuff is real.
Yeah. And UIU is also, it's Umo Igbo Unite in America. And you know, so many things are going on. I want to ask you now, someone might ask, like, there's so many uprisings going on in Africa. There is one going on currently in Senegal. There's one going on in Cote d'Ivoire. There's one going on all over the world. There's one going on in Uganda, you know, with the killings in Bobby Wine's election and so many killings all over the world. Someone might ask, what's so special about the Biafran struggle? Like, what's so special about the Biafran people? And what is the essence of all of this agitation, all of this noise coming up from that place saying they want to leave, and time again? What's so special about this struggle?
So the thing is, which is crazy, is although I feel like, you know, Nigeria is very backwards and underdeveloped, a lot of different countries look at Nigeria as like the mantle of some sort of freedom, or, you know, as a structure that they can basically relate to or learn from, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which is sad. And that if you're placing Nigeria that high as a country, then think about what other countries are going to, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
Nigeria is very low regarding everything that's going on. So for me, when I think about, okay, we have this, we have Nigeria, and other countries are looking towards Nigeria. If we fight for freedom, if we fight for freedom, and when we get Biafra, and we basically show other countries in Africa, this is the example. Just be an example of what a country should look like. We
Mm-hmm.
have the resources, we have the wealth that was given free from God. Let's set that tone of what it looks like for people to exercise their fundamental rights, where you actually have a real military protecting you, where you have a president that speaks up live when atrocities occur, or a president that is not biased towards one type of ethnic group. No, Biafra is a representative of freedom. It represents freedom. You give us Biafra, and we're going to show you what a proper country, what a proper republic would look like in Africa as a continent. When people start to see that, right, you're going to be like, okay, if they can do it, I can do it too.
Mm.
You want to set that trend. And as long as this is going on, there's no trends that are going to be set.
So you're saying that Biafra is going to be an example to African nations all around the world. And my next question to you is then, like, someone will ask you, what then are the lead? What then is the leadership in all this Biafra in Eastern Nigeria? You know, the governors, the local government chairmen, all these other people that are taking up leadership positions. What are they doing? What's your opinion on what they are doing, and how can they do better to make even significant progress to the life of the you know, Biafrans all over the world, or in Nigeria?
So which leadership in Nigeria?
Yes, the leadership of the eastern leadership. Now, the governors of these eastern states. What's your opinion on them, and how can they do better to support what the Biafra movement is all about?
So let me stop you right there. So do better. They have not done anything.
Okay.
So we can't say how can they do better when they haven't done anything to help us,
Right.
They're so caught up in the monetary, right? The monetary, the tangible of the money and the wealth that they're basically selling their souls and selling to basically generate from. So what can they do better? Nothing. They haven't done anything at all. What they can do better is look in the mirror and look to see if their ancestors could come out of their bodies or from their souls, right? They can pray to God to forgive them for their sins, for so much atrocities that has occurred in their hands. There's nothing that they've done that's benefiting us. They've hurt us more than help us. Because what you look at the top, when you look at Buhari, I don't address people as president if I don't feel like they are a president. So Buhari, if you look at him from the top or whatever, you know, he's feeding all of these governors and promising all these Igbo governors, or not promising, but I guess probably putting it in their heads that they possibly can become the president in 2023, right? You have all these youth rising up. Oh, we're going to have a youth democracy and rise up to become president. It's not going to happen. Look at the history of Nigeria and ask yourself, can an Igbo presidency happen? That's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And until they see that, maybe or maybe not, they'll help, but it doesn't matter. I don't look to the governors to help us to where we're going. All
Mm-hmm.
we have is ourselves. We don't depend. We cannot. The way that you deal with the struggle is you don't depend on people, right? You
Mm-hmm.
fight for yourself and you fight for your people.
Right. And so pretty much, from what I'm hearing we're hearing you say, there is really nothing that they will do, and there's nothing that they can do. So
No.
my next question, I believe that the Biafran agitation has also awoken a different group of people now known as the Oduduwa Republic to speak up. So what would you say, and what's your advice to those that are agitating for Oduduwa Republic? And how would you say that they got this sort of courage from the Biafrans who have been shouting long ago?
I'm very excited. I'm very excited. And the thing is, I'm very happy that we do have, it's just another support, right? It's like, oh, Biafrans are crazy, they're crazy, but we're not the only ones that are agitating for freedom. You have different people, agitating for freedom. The Yorubas, Middle Belts, there's different people agitating for freedom because they're tired of Nigeria. They're tired of Nigeria. They're tired of raising their children in a place where they don't know if their children are going to be alive tomorrow. People are tired, right? So I encourage them to continue to do what they're doing, and we're right there with them, right? We're not just fighting for ourselves, but we're fighting for everybody that wants out of this. Everybody that wants out. So yes.
That's good. That's a good response. Now, I want you to talk to us about. I know you were personal secretary to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. What would you say what's your opinion about his leadership style, and what do you think draws people to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and what separates him from the lot of leaders that have come out of Eastern Nigeria?
Well, I would say for him is fearless. I think one word, what I would say about him is fearless, right? And I feel like for you, fearless and uncorrupted. Because the thing is, you have people that have tried to do what he's doing, but they get bought off, right? Or scared. Those two factors can make you, it can defeat you, not even less than a month, you're done. Those two factors, in order for you to do this on a level that he's doing, you have to be fearless and you cannot be corrupt. And you have to truly have compassion for your people, right? That's what it is. You have to have that. It's that level of compassionate for your people. And it's that level of understanding your purpose. People believe in him, right? How long has he been doing this? Let the records show. He's been doing this for how long, right? Ongoing and ongoing. He has not been bought. And that same level of compassion that he had when he started is the same level of compassion that he has now, and it's only growing, right? So when people look at a leader and they're saying, okay, we're trusting this man with our lives, we're trusting this man to lead us to freedom, right? They're looking for mistakes. Time after time after time, year after year after year, he's always doing the same thing, fighting for Biafra, fighting for Biafra. That narrative has never changed, right? So if you see somebody that's so consistent and so passionate about what they're doing, then come on. That's it. All they see. Everybody else in the struggle, and I don't like to talk about people because when I talk about certain people, I don't want their names to come up and they feel themselves. So people in the struggle that has betrayed the struggle, right? That try to go against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, look at them now. Instead of them, and they say, oh, he's not doing it. What are they doing? The people that have left the struggle, they're not even fighting for Biafra. They're just ramping about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and they're so obsessed with him. They're so obsessed. So obsessed. You take all that obsession that you have with one person, use that same to fight for what you were fighting for, right? To fight for what you said that he can't do. But you're doing that, but you're just obsessed about him. Sickening. So again, consistency, compassion, right? And that uncorruptness, right? And that leadership, that's what you need. And that's why people are continuing to follow him.
Totally. And what's your advice to those that are currently in, the Biafran agitation, the Biafra spirit, the Biafra movement? What's your advice to them to keep fighting, to keep going? What's your advice to those in the ESN who are volunteering to be in the ESN? It's a tough job, obviously. What's your advice to them? What would you say to them?
Your efforts are going to pay off. All of our efforts collectively are going to pay off, right? ESN, they have a job to protect the people on ground. People that are in Twitter or social media, they have a job to get the news out. People that are here in America, you have a job to talk to your government. Everybody's effort is going to it's going to pay off. the thing that I encourage people the most is that in anything that you do, God is number one. I don't believe that you can do something if God is not the center and focus of what you're doing. If God is not the center of focus of what you're doing, any plans that you have will fail. God is the center and focus of this movement, right? We need to continue to pray to God to get us through this, and not only pray to God to get us through this, but thank him in advance for what he's going to do. Thank him in advance for what he's doing, because we've came a long way. I've only, believe it or not, I've only been in here since October, and I just pretty much took off because, again, I hate injustice. So we need to just continue to, you know, be each other's friend, best friend, you know, love one another, and just continue to pull each other up when somebody else is low, because it's hard. You know, it's hard seeing the atrocities day by day. It's very, very hard. So we need to continue to encourage one another, pray for one another, and know that at the end of the day, God is going to free his people. Free his people. He's going to free people that are going through this atrocity, that are having to. So yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Caroline. I want everyone to know that Caroline Uchenna Okorafor is a lawyer, a human rights activist. She is the personal secretary of the indigenous people of Biafra and works very closely with Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And we've had her on our show. And for those who are just joining me, my name is Buchi Law. I run the organization Leadership Standard, and we aim at promoting young people who are doing great work in the world. And today we are spotlighting Caroline Uchenna Okorafor. As you all have been here since the beginning of this show, you can see how passionate she is about issues of injustice, issues of you know, killings and murders and rapes of young women in Nigeria by the Nigerian Army, allegedly. But that is what it is, because we know that is what has been shown. But we will continue to, you know, we'll continue to have her on this show, you know, to keep talking. And I know you said you only have an hour to spend, and I'm always like a stickler to time, and I don't like to exhaust my my guests. But is there any final words you want to say, Caroline? A lot of people are pulling on your strength, and I know that you as well. I don't know where you get your strength from, but I know that you get your strength obviously from God. I could tell how passionate you speak about God and, you know, his guidance in your life. But, you know, are there any final words? Is there anything you want to say? You know, maybe I didn't ask you about it, but if there's something you want to tell people who are listening.
I mean, the only thing that I can say is, if you're here in the United States and you're watching this, don't stop watching, and let's start taking action. Like, join what we're doing, and I'm telling you, your efforts, your individual efforts, is going to make a difference, right? And those of you who are, you know, unfortunately in Biafra right now, praying every day just to live, help is coming. We're coming, right? We're gonna help you, and I just want you to just. I'm not trying to say have patience, because you've lived there and you feel what's going on, but just bear with us and just know that we're not going to give up on this, right? For everyone who's lost somebody, who's been raped or tortured by these terrorist governments and different different ethnic groups, well, the Fulanese, or just affected in some way, right? You know, your pain does not go unnoticed, and I'm right there with you, right? Your pain is my pain. Although I'm not physically there with you, I'm fighting for you, and there's other people fighting for you. And I just really want you to know that.
What's your advice for young people? For the young people in the struggle, for your people who are just, you know, the young ones who are like coming out, you know, risking their life. What's your advice to the young people currently who are in this Biafran struggle? To
just know that their efforts are going to set up a better generation for themselves and a generation to come, right? They need to continue to do what they do and be smart, right? If I tweet something that says delete WhatsApp, delete it, please. Like, if I'm tweeting stuff that's going to help, just please listen to me. I know what I'm talking about. But like, just continue to just fight and do what you're doing, because a lot of young people are very, very smart. A lot of them I talk to, very, very smart. So just continue to do what you're doing, right? We're all in this together, and we're gonna get through it.
All right. Well, on that note, I want to thank everyone for coming. I want to thank you, Caroline, for coming. Thank everyone for joining us. I see a lot of wonderful comments here. Thank you for everyone who has dropped a comment. And I want to just say that, you know, please, wherever you are, please keep speaking up for the people of Biafra. Keep speaking up for the people of, you know, the Eastern Security Network, whatever they're doing, you know, keep supporting them, because I feel like it's something that needs to happen to save a lot of lives down the road, as well as even to save the lives of people who don't even expect that their lives will be saved. And Caroline, Uchenna, great work. I wish you all the best in your role as the principal secretary, and you know, keep inspiring and keep doing great things. Thank you for honoring my invitation, and
Yeah.
we hope to have this sometime again. Hopefully we get more people who will talk about these same issues. But from here and from here on, please, thank you all. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Leadership Standard on YouTube. Like, follow the Leadership Standard on Instagram and on Facebook. We do a lot of shows like this, and not just on Biafra. We talk about so many other issues. If you go on my Instagram page, you'll see some of the videos we've had in the past, and even I've had Caroline Uchenna previously before on my show, and we're bringing her here again the second time as a role as the principal secretary. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for being with us today. Wish you all a wonderful Saturday. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Thank you. Bye for now.
Bye.
Thank you, Caroline. Bye-bye.